For decades, locals have reported voices rising from a well hidden deep within the abandoned village of Briar Hollow. Some say the whispers belong to those who vanished here. Others say the well is alive. It's been said that if you listen closely enough, you can still hear them. The village of Briar Hollow has a dark history, one shrouded in silence and fear. Official records show over a dozen disappearances linked to this place. Yet no one has dared to step inside the infamous well chamber since 1974. The stories are chilling. Recordings taken near the village are filled with voices responding to questions that nobody asked. If the local legends hold any truth, the well doesn't just echo sound, it echoes souls. Our paranormal research unit arrived at Briar Hollow on a cold, foggy night, determined to uncover the truth. The air was heavy, charged with an energy that felt both ancient and hostile. We knew we were here to document the disappearances, but we couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Almost immediately, our audio specialist, Mark, picked up something unsettling on his equipment. Every recording from the area captured faint, disembodied voices. Meanwhile, our occult historian, Dr. Rowan, reviewed the town's folklore. The legend spoke of a well that didn't just reflect sound, but held on to the very essence of those it claimed. As we prepared our gear, a sudden, violent bang on the side of our van made us all freeze. We were not alone. Under the faint glow of the moon, we made our way through the overgrown paths of the village. The atmosphere was thick with dread. Trees creaked around us like ancient bones, and every crunch of our footsteps felt like an intrusion. Finally, we reached a small clearing. There it was, the well, its dark maw, covered by heavy, rusted chains. This was the place the town had sealed decades ago, after children claimed something below, tried to speak with them, luring them closer. As Mark set up his audio recorders, he suddenly pointed at his display. "I'm getting a pulse," he said, his voice tense. "It's like a heartbeat." The screen showed irregular spikes, a rhythmic thumping that defied any logical explanation. Dr. Rowan shook his head slowly. "It's not a heartbeat," she whispered. "It's a call." And then we heard it. A whisper, soft but unnervingly clear, seemed to rise from the depths of the well. It said a single word, "Jess." It was my name. I stumbled back, my own heart pounding in my chest. How could it know my name? Before our expedition, we spoke with one of the last surviving villagers, an elderly woman named Agnes. Her hands trembled as she recounted the village's grim past. "We warned everyone," she said, her eyes filled with a deep, haunting sadness. "The well never gives. It only takes." She explained that the entity in the well was intelligent, that it learned, and that it had a cruel way of remembering. "And it always remembers a voice," she finished, a tear rolling down her cheek. Her warning echoed in my mind as I stood before the chained well, the whisper of my name still hanging in the cold night air. Steeling my nerves, I took the bolt cutters and began to sever the old, rusted chains. With each snap of metal, the tension grew thicker. As the last chain fell away, a strange thing happened. The heavy iron lid covering the well seemed to push back against my hands, just for a moment. Mark saw it too. "Did you see that?" he stammered. The lid moved toward us. Before we could react, the cover slid open on its own with a long metallic groan, revealing a pitch-black opening. There was no wind, nothing that could explain it. As I cautiously leaned closer, a low, gurgling whisper grew from the darkness below. It was a chorus of voices, yet a single consciousness, and it said, "Come down, one at a time." We exchanged terrified looks. We had come for answers, and it seemed the only way to get them was to go down into the abyss. Equipped with helmet cams and ropes, we began our descent. The shaft was narrow, its stone walls slick with moisture and time. The darkness below was absolute, a void that seemed to swallow the beams of our flashlights. I narrated my feelings into my recorder, my voice trembling slightly. It felt like the walls themselves were alive, watching us, pressing in on us. It was a claustrophobic, suffocating feeling, as if the well itself wanted us there, trapping us within its stone throat. Suddenly, a flicker of movement behind Mark caught my eye on the camera feed. He flinched. "Did someone just grab me?" he called out, his voice tight with panic. But no one was close enough. In that instant, a chilling whisper spoke directly into his microphone, a sound none of us heard with our own ears, but was captured perfectly on the recording. "Here's next." After what felt like an eternity, our feet touched the bottom. We found ourselves in a vast, underground chamber, far larger than the well's opening suggested. The air was stale and cold, and the ground was covered in several inches of stagnant, black water. At the very center of the chamber stood a circular stone ring, an altar of some kind. As we got closer, a horrific detail came into view. The surface of the stone was not smooth. It was covered with thousands of tiny, screaming faces, their mouths open in silent agony. Dr. Rowan gasped, her historical detachment shattered. "Dear God," she breathed. "These aren't carvings. These are impressions." Faces pressed into the rock, as if something inside pulled them in. Mark, ever the audio specialist, moved closer to the central ring. "You hear that?" he asked. The whispering had returned, but now it was a deafening chorus of layered voices, all speaking at once. "Help us. Stay with us. Join us." The water at the center of the ring began to ripple violently, as if boiling from below. Before anyone could react, a pale, slender hand shot out from the water and seized Mark's ankle. He screamed, a raw, terrified sound that echoed off the stone walls. Chaos erupted. Our cameras shook wildly as I lunged forward, trying to pull Mark free from the unearthly grip. More arms, pale and thin, emerged from the water, thrashing and reaching. They swarmed around Dr. Rowan, pulling her off her feet. "Don't let it take me," she screamed, her eyes wide with terror. "Don't let it." She was dragged under the surface in an instant, her screams silenced by the gurgling water. Mark and I scrambled for the rope, climbing frantically as the whispers below turned into guttural, angry snarls. The well did not want to let us go. We burst out of the well's opening, collapsing onto the damp earth, gasping for air and sanity. Behind us, the heavy iron lid slammed shut with a deafening, final boom. It was over. We had survived. But the horror was not finished with us. Mark's personal audio recorder, still clipped to his chest, continued to run, and from it, a new whisper emerged. It was no longer a chorus, but a single calm voice, intimate and possessive. It said, "Jess escaped. Mark did not." I looked at Mark. His eyes, once full of life, were slowly turning a milky, empty white. I screamed, but there was no one left to hear. One survivor. One missing body. Zero explanations. The whispering well of Briar Hollow keeps its secrets, and it keeps its souls. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow for more investigations into the unknown.